I hope you guys enjoy the first part with Blake Tiberi. And the second part, he's going to be more talking about how he's doing now, his experience after playing baseball, how important it is to prepare yourself for the life after baseball, because baseball life at some point will end. And as a player, and you have to be prepared for what is coming after, especially if you're unable to make a career in the Major League Baseball. That is where you're gonna make most of it. So I hope that that first part helped it, and this part is gonna be really interesting, talking about his perspective and what he will tell to his young self with the experience that he has now after being a baseball player. So stay with us because on Sports Amazing and Baseball, this is where baseball meets
What
sports
else you will have
amazing.
to say? You will have to say anything to the people out here in Northern Kentucky that haven't seen you for a little bit of time. When I talked to Coach Wormerling, earlier this week that I contact you and I wanna, have a chat with you. So, actually, I want you to come, but I know you are in Vegas. You're not in town. I think it would be fantastic for the kids to meet you. Learn from you, get your experience. But I hope that this, chat actually help them to understand, what will take for them to go to the next level. But importantly, baseball life ends on some point. You could be 20 years of major league level baseball like Carlos Beltran, and the life will end on baseball, right? Your baseball career will not be all your life. So you have to enjoy. You have to embrace it. You have to make friends. You have to have fun. Now, if you'll be a freshman, if you'll be able to talk to your own self in freshman year, what you will tell your young self?
I think I definitely would tell myself to do exactly what I'm doing and to not change, right? To stick to who I am. Don't try to be anyone that I'm not. Again, I was really consistent with that up until I got through college. And I kind of lost a little bit of my identity once I got, a couple years into pro ball and, you just get punched in the mouth. I mean, it's a whole different beast. I went from having, a lot of success to, then you have 2 weeks where you're on the road and you're just not playing consistently, right? I got into a thing where I just tried to be someone I wasn't, right? Like I had that title dubbed as me as a corner infielder that needed to hit for power, right? That wasn't who I was, right? I was a hitter, right? And that's what I did from high school to college. I just hit. I didn't care what it was. I knew when I got to the stadium, I was putting 2, 3 barrels together. Right. I lost that identity, and that's really what I would change. Right. Again, awesome career. I was able to play professional. I got paid to play baseball for 9 years. Right. Kicked around indie ball, trying to get back picked up, made play internationally, whatever, look for another opportunity. Right. But those back couple of years at indie ball, again, I kind of got my identity back up, my mind right, and ended up getting back up, hitting 300, over 300 my last couple of years. Right. And then on top of that, again, that just kind of stuck with who I was. I went back to my identity of I'm just going to pepper the middle backside. If I catch a ball clean out front, I'm going to hit it out. Right. That's what I would change differently. Because again, I was in a weird transition phase, I think, of like old school to new school. Data started to come around. Then we got TrackMan. We got all these metrics to track baseball players now, right? I got a little bit lost in that because I was told I needed to hit for more power, this, that, and the other, right? I didn't think more about it. It was this way until I got towards the back end of my career of like, I need to move properly. Again, people probably underlook some of the numbers of it. Mookie Betts, for example, he's 5'9", 5'10", okay? But Mookie athletically moves some of the best rotationally. I mean, he's just an unbelievable athlete, right? But if you look at sequentially how he moves, right, and his swing speed, if you look at his swing speed, I'm pretty sure his swing speed's in one of the bottom percentages of all of big league players. But that guy knows exactly where the barrel is, and he moves properly, and that's why a guy like that is able to hit 320 and hit 35 pumps every year because he knows how to use his body, right? I'll add that into there as like what I would tell my younger self too. Learn how to use the ground and learn how to use your body. Make sure you stay mobile and pay attention to how you move, right? So that you can, again, long term avoid injury, but again, maximize your potential at the plate, moving properly, giving yourself the most adjustability and learning that way.
And I think that I know what you're meaning with that. Right now, I'm preparing to try to talk to strength conditioning coach. I'm looking what the Major League Baseball draft combine is looking for athletes, right? Because now you have to be an athlete before you're a baseball player. You need to get your 30 yard dash and under 4, and if it's less than 3.7, you're elite. And that's not a baseball player, that's an
Mhm.
athlete. They think that
Yeah.
because if you're an athlete, they can make you hit better. But if you're a hit, you're hit and you're not an athlete, you're not gonna get there. You're not gonna be able to produce the way that they expect. And there's a lot of people that don't go that route. They don't look as an athlete and they are able to be successful. Those are not the norm now. That's not the word they're looking for, right? So, one of the things that they're looking is the rotation. They're talking about internal and external rotation on your hips. How flexible are you? How rotational you can be. And that's gonna help you to move, in the field and move in the box to be able to get that barrel into the ball and appropriate timing. When I was growing up, they say, hey, the ball's inside, you pull the foot to the side. The ball's outside, you put the foot, go to right field. You don't have time for that anymore. I'm talking about 48 years old.
No.
The ball's coming 95. The average of right-handed pitchers was 95.3 miles per hour last year, and the lefty was 93 point something. So for the first time ever, right-handed pitcher threw average 95 miles per hour on Major League Baseball. Think about that. And if you don't have time to move your foot, no, the foot go the same place. You hit the ball in different planes.
Mhm.
In front of your plate, if it's inside, middle of the plate, if it's in the middle, deep into the plate, if it's outside corner. It's the same swing. It's just where you hit the ball. And you need to become an athlete, and you need to become to move better rotation to be able to open those hips, because your hands not gonna open. It's your hips that open. Your shoulder doesn't need to open. Are your hips? So I think that's what you're talking about when you're talking about moving appropriately. Is that correct?
Yeah, understanding again, I think it's really important. Again, you're going to be your best self coach. Understand how you need to move to maximize your body's potential. Again, when you're 14, 15, you haven't really developed the strength that you're going to get 18, 19, 20, 21. I didn't probably feel my strongest till I was probably 25. Again, I moved really good as a kid, so I was able to still hit the ball, with high exit velocity and hit it far, right? And again, you got a metal bat. Those things are an absolute cheat code now. And,
Mm-hmm.
I could talk about the conspiracy of what I think they're doing to the college ball and the college bat to make it juiced, right? But again, that's a conversation for a different time. But the skill gap from like college to professional is so large to where, right? There's so much more bite on the off speed pitches. Guys have fastballs, doing this, they're cutting it. It's now spin rate's a big thing now, so it's now rising, right? There's not many sinker ball guys anymore. It's about challenging this plane and this plane, you know. So being able to understand how do I move properly so that I can cover every quadrant, I think that's really important, right? Can I get my hands on top of this pitch and can I match the plane on the one down and away? Again, facing a guy throwing 95 plus, you're not going to cover everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. So I like to think you guys got to react, stick to your approach, understand your strengths and weaknesses. Okay. If you struggle with the slider, okay, let's eliminate that pitch until we get to 2 strikes and when we just go into compete mode. All right. When I was facing guys throwing 95 plus, I was just eliminating in that inner third of the plate because I was like, all right, it's usually for show. Okay. Now, if it leaks back over the middle, I'm going to hit it. Right. But then with 2 strikes, just go into compete mode and then you react. Next thing you know, you're down a little bit earlier. Now you're ripping the ball in the gap, pull side 195. Right. But if you can just understand, okay, I need to get my timing where it needs to be. Okay. That's where the drill work of all your work in the off season goes in so that you can just get in the box and just trust your approach to see the ball to where you're not thinking about all this other stuff going on. To where I can just get in, I'm going to say, I'm going to react and I'm going to hit the ball right there. That's what I did for the most part. I was just going to stay right through the middle. And if it was inside, it was just a reaction. And I feel like you see a lot of that now to where guys are starting to understand their strengths and their weaknesses. Okay. Again, there's more data now. Okay. I can see I struggled on sliders. Okay. But I did really well against the curveball. Okay. So if
Mm-hmm.
we see the arc now, okay, now we can be aggressive early in the count. If you struggle up, okay, you struggle with the fastball up, okay, A lot easier said than done to not swing at it. But again, okay, get in the cage and early work and just buzz the pitching machine at 95 at the top of the zone and just overcompensate to get your hands on top of it. So then when you get in the game, it's like, okay, now I've seen this so many times now. Now I just got to be direct to it. Okay. You're just starting to develop that consistency of, okay, I can understand what my weaknesses are. I need to address them, you
Hmm.
know?
I think that that's obviously that's a really interesting for baseball junkies like me. Understanding your mind and how you approach the game and how you go there. Um, well, it has been a pleasure, man, having you, with me tonight. Um, I remember. I'm being honest. I remember when you were drafted, just because where you're coming from, school that my kids go now. That I knew that we're gonna be there. In 2000, 16 when you were drafted, my kids were school young, right? But they were there, and really appreciate your time to talk to us about your journey to through school, to go to college, to go to professional baseball, and what you're doing now. And I'm glad that you did what you have to do to get your education and actually to go now to the path and your new passion, because you need to find your passion. My job is a hobby, right? That's what I say. If you find a hobby that is your job, you made it. And I go to work every day, happy, without any pressure, any issues. This what I'm doing here. It is more for me, for fun, because I miss the talk. And with baseball, when you were talking about being injured and not being on the clubhouse, imagine my first job. I was a GABP. I was there from
Yeah.
2000 when they won the pennant. I watched Jay
Oh,
Bruce
yeah.
homer from the dog as a young guy, new in baseball. Not new in baseball, new in professional baseball as a doctor. I knew as a doctor too. I was young. I was my fellowship. Wasn't even my job. I was getting to be a sports medicine doctor. That was my last year of my career, on my journey of being a student, right? Um, so after I left 9 years later, I miss it. I miss that commodity. That's what I'm doing this, and I want to
Hmm.
bring people who was important for me through my baseball, life, my baseball career as a doctor, right? As a professional, Major League Baseball physician, and you were part of it because you came from the school. You went to a New York Mets that I was a fan. I'm still a fan, and and that's what I want to have you here. And I want the kids for our school, for Northern Kentucky, to hear about your story, what you went through, that you're doing well. And if you have anything to say to them, please, this is the time.
No, I think the biggest thing, I don't know where this is going to go, to be honest with you. I'm just going to
Yeah.
roll it.
Yeah.
I committed myself to wanting to be the best baseball player that I could be. And that sort of leaked into the other aspects of my life of wanting to be great in everything I did as a student, as a person, son, brother, yada, yada, yada. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the time, and be present because it goes by so fast. I mean, I've been so fortunate to have the life that I've had and the career that I've had. Like, it's stupid. It is the career I've had is so stupid. I didn't get to the big leagues, right, which was my dream, but I was 2 calls away from getting that opportunity. I was able to experience that lifestyle a little bit in spring training, going to big league games. I got plenty of big league time in spring training and games and the people I was able to meet. I've got all of my friendships I've cherished every moment from the brotherhood I've created in college to some of my best friends I've met professionally. It's just enjoy everything. I mean, that Jay Bruce homer, like I remember that he hit it against the Astros in 2010. Full circle moment for me. It was what 20? I don't know. It was within a decade, right? Bruce was with the Mets, his rehab stint. I got to just fanboy about him. I was like, dude, I grew up in Cincy. I'm a Reds fan. Watching you hit that home run to win the division was like this is just so cool. You don't understand. And he was so cool about it. I was, again, very lucky. The rehab is like Todd Frazier. I got to play with Frazier too when he was with the Mets. He did a rehab stints with us. I was lucky enough to just see 2 guys I watched growing up and play on the same field as them. And that was, again, just one of those things that I can just cherish forever because I was able to stay present in that moment and just as a kid watching those guys on TV and watching them in person and wanting to aspire to be them. And then I was on the same field as them. Like it was just so cool to me. And again, to the younger generation, the kids at Holy Cross, enjoy the moment and just again use it as motivation because again, I didn't think in any lifetime that I would be on the same field as like guys I watched growing up. Again, and another kind of just cool thing that I just ran in like my first spring training when I was a kid, I was able to get an autograph from Ichiro.
Oh,
Fast forward to spring training. Ichiro was with the Marlins at the time, was on the same field as Ichiro. And it
wow.
was just, again, just could not have dreamt this stuff up. And, you know, I've been so lucky again, just the guys I've seen play at the big league level, it's just an absolute art. Just watching them hit. Again, I think one of the best pure hitters I've ever seen to this day still is Cano. Last couple of years, it was the Mets. I was up there. Just it didn't look like he cared, and it was just so effortless. And I've just never seen anyone dominate the plate like he did. Like it was just so cool to just be in. Just again, you're a kind of fanboying, but again, it's like I was always trying to learn. Like, don't take those little moments for granted. Of like, okay, watch what he's doing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like one of the greatest guys with the Mets that I was able to kind of be there with was Michael Conforto. Conforto was a little bit older than me. He was already well established big leaguer at the time, but he was always really cool with me. And I would always just pick his brain about what he's doing and what is he thinking about on a slider? What's he doing with a changeup? How's he reading the ball out of the lefty's hand? And he was just such a cool dude. And he was just, most of those guys, I realized we're really the same. We're really similar. Those guys are just big leaguers because they're just a little bit more consistent than the guys in the minor leagues, right? Their misses are a little bit less. Their margin for error is just a little bit smaller. So just being not kind of getting out of your comfort zone of don't be afraid to ask questions, right? Because most of those guys at that level, right, when you're in, again, a little bit different kind of being a minor leaguer, talking to a big leaguer, but again, it's in that same umbrella of like, okay, they were in my position before, right? Most of those guys are really good about trying to grow the game, pass the game down, pass the knowledge down, right? That kind of really unlocked to me of like, okay, whenever I had another guy rehabbing when I was in, the minor leagues, I didn't care. I was going up and asking him everything. Just like, all right, dude, tell me, what'd you see off of this guy? Like, what's your thoughts on this? What are you doing with like your drill work? Like, can I come watch you do this? Can I hit with you? Worst thing they say is no, but most of those guys aren't going to say no. You're going to find a one-off that's, a little bit of a dick, right? Like that's just going to come egos and stuff when you're in with some guys. But 99% of those guys are great humans and they just, they're there to help, right? Like it's just, I've had the stupidest life and I have just cherished every moment of it.
I'm so glad to hear that. It is you have to just live your life. Don't be somebody that. What I'm taking from this conversation is one. It is how hard you have to work to become, a great player, a great person, a great husband, a great brother, a great son, a great father, and all those kind of things. That's one. Number two, how things that can be negative in life on one moment can become an important pivoting for your life that can help you in the future. Number three, don't trying to be something that you are not. Those are the three things that actually that I had get from this conversation right now. That I think is really important for everybody out there to grind. They may got other things, but those are the three things that I appreciate that you have shared with us. Be yourself. Be who you want to be. Don't try to be somebody else that you're not. And enjoy the ride. And thank you very much for this opportunity to meet you. Finally, to know you a little bit. And next time you are around the area, if you come, to Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, please don't be a stranger. You got my number. We just give you a free pass to a Holy Cross High School baseball game.
Hey, got a deal.
And by the way, when Coach Wormeling is going to Vegas, he's gonna contact you. That's what he said. So be prepared
No, that's fine.
for a phone call at some point or a text message from him.
Man, it's all good. I'll be here.
Well, thank you for your time. And hopefully we can have you another time talking more about what you think is happening with college baseball, the juice balls and the juice bats.
Hey, I've been saying it for years, man. I've never seen people hit backside bombs like they are now in college.
Hey, it's everything now. They got my kids are watching, YouTube, and they have this. I don't even remember the bat. It's like a brown bat with gold that, the guy's hitting 120 something miles per hour. He's like, I never hit
Yeah,
more than
those things are
113.
juiced.
Crazy, 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 crazy. But hey, thank you for having me or for being with me today. It's been a pleasure, and stay in touch with us. Okay.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Angel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.